Juliana, when you think of joy, and I think of you when I think of joy so much because of how you share it in your work and how you speak about it and how you prioritize it in your own life. Like, I really feel like that's something you walk a life of joy. You don't just talk about it. But I'm curious, sometimes it's hard to define things. So if you were to describe joy to somebody, how do you define it? What is it to you?
I usually start with what it's not.
What it's not. Okay, let's hear that.
It's not happiness.
Mm.
It can be, but that's not what it is. And most people use those terms interchangeably, but they're not. Happiness is fleeting. It's dependent on a situation usually, or having something, or being something, or doing something, and it ends if that situation ends. Go out and dancing and have a great time, come home to an empty house and it's sad, then you're sad and you're not happy anymore. So, it's back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah. Before you say anything more, I want you to get closer to your computer because you're a little soft.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit better.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah, it's better.
So so it's what it's not. And then what it is accepting what is, like being here now.
Mm.
And I know you've heard the term, people they've heard the term, and it literally means to not want it to be anything other than it is right now. Because when you resist it, then it makes it worse, and then you're going backwards. And so the more we can be completely now with what is, then we're more likely to want more of it.
Yeah.
Because in this moment right now, we could have maybe we've lost our job, or our good friend is sick with cancer, and some terrible things happen. But right now, in this moment, you and I are talking, and everything is fine right now, like right now.
Yeah.
And so most of the time, people are looking at the past or the future, and they're not here now.
Right. Yes.
And of course, I have to bring in the forgiveness piece, because that to me is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to joy. And that people try to carry their big rocks with them into every moment. And it hurt before, and it hurts in every moment, even when people aren't thinking about it, because it's still in their subconscious and they're trying to make it work, and it just can't. It can't. And so being here now means that burden isn't here anymore, really. You know what I mean? And so the more we can be here now with none of what happened before, none of the fear about the future, totally now, there is a peace that comes with that. And joy and peace, those are more interchangeable than happy and joy to me.
I love that so much. And it is so true. I've felt that in my own experience too, just that the deepest places I've ever been in joy were right alongside some of the hardest times I've ever experienced. And I think it was because of what you said. I just accepted what was in the moment, and
right. A strength, a groundedness, and you were able to tap into the essence of your true power, which is where all the joy comes from. Joy never stops. When you really connect with that, it is that spring that never stops. It can't stop, because that's who we are.
Yes. And as you're speaking, I am finding myself even getting emotions. I mean, I feel just listening to you speak this is the truth. And I think it moves me to have this conversation. I want more, and I specifically work with women. I know you work with women and men, but I want this for people. And so it's so meaningful to me that we're even having this conversation. So thank you. Would you say more about, you said what blocks you from joy the most? Well, you said what helps you get to joy was forgiveness. Do you think that's the biggest block to joy is unforgiveness?
I think it's the number one.
Number one.
To me. What I've seen, I'm a Course in Miracles student, and the whole purpose of life is forgiving. letting go. By the way, forgiveness means to let go. It doesn't mean the other person's right. It doesn't mean we're wrong, they're right. It means none of that. It just means I just want to be happy. I don't want to be a victim anymore. I don't want to suffer anymore. So that means, in other words, I want to be present. That's what it means. That's what it means ultimately. It means just to let go of that person. How many times people have been angry at somebody who's been dead for 20 years? Who are they fighting with at that point? It's themselves. So again, the more we can be present, the more we can tap into that joy that is, it's also satisfied is another word that I associate with joy. Satisfied is, and I know as an American, that word is almost like a cop out to a lot of people. They feel like you're supposed to want more, you're supposed to, do more, be more perfect, da 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 da. And at some point it just wears out, and you're constantly comparing, and you're so far from being present. It's not even there isn't even, I don't even know what that word is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so satisfied means, you know what? I feel really good right now. It's okay to feel good, even if I'm not a millionaire, even if I don't have the car I want, even if my kids aren't in the school I want, or whatever. It's okay to just feel good right now. It is.
What would you say? So forgiveness being your number one tool to share, to get, to have joy, to be in joy, the energy of joy. What would you say to someone who is just beginning and knows that there's some forgiveness they want in their life, whether it's forgiving themselves or forgiving someone else? Where would they start?
By loving themselves, working on that first. Working is probably not the right word. Finding ways, like I love the mirror work. Look in the mirror in the morning and say, Mary, show me some ways I can please you today. Look in the mirror in your eyes and say, look for ways that I can please you today. And you're giving your subconscious something to do that's kind, that's giving. It's like, what? To be nice to me? Wait, but I've got things to do. I've got people to please out there. So start pleasing yourself. And that's not a selfish thing. It is, all about the thing in the, the air and the oxygen and the airplane. Got to give yourself the oxygen first. It's all of that. It's the golden rule. Love others as you love yourself. You've got as you love yourself. So as you love yourself is the part most people leave out. They're always trying to do things for other people. But guess what? Not only is that a codependent heavy thing when you're looking to please other people all the time, most of the time people are doing it because they want somebody to give them the love they're not giving themselves. Usually it's conditional, if I'm doing this for you, then you've got to do this for me because I need it, and I'm not enough, so I need you to love me. All of that. So it's a whole other area, but it's all connected to not loving yourself. So when you love yourself in the moment, being here now, like I am a whole complete person now. I can feel myself now. I can feel how good I feel right now in this moment. I really do. I'm channeling people saying, you just really notice, okay, I'm taking a breath. Yeah, I do. Yeah, maybe my back hurts a little bit or whatever, but in this moment though, overall, I feel really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Shining. I got food in the refrigerator. I feel really good right now. Focus on the things that are pleasing you and do more of that. So your answer, how do you start with forgiveness? It's beginning to please yourself. And the more you see that you can love yourself and give yourself what you need, then you're less likely to need it and take from other people, sucking energy from other people for your needs. That is so, I can feel it when I walk it. I've had friends in the past where I can feel them sucking my energy just to be around them. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But joy is when you feel it in yourself, you are enough. So you start pleasing yourself. And then there's a type of forgiveness process that I recommend, would be the next step. But for sure, start pleasing yourself. Start giving yourself what you need. I even send myself flowers. I give myself birthday presents, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I feel like I need. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You can give yourself what you need. And I think that's, I know we both do this with our clients, and usually it is very much those initial relationships, especially with our parents, that are the hardest to forgive. And yet it is almost that practicing of starting with self-love. You're already kind of moving yourself towards, I don't need anyone else to love me in a certain way to begin this process to love myself. And after we get started on that, and even just almost like redefining the relationship you have with those people at this point in your adult life is necessary to begin to forgive, and also a beginning to that freedom. So absolutely. And I know I'll put a link to your book, The Other F Word, because you wrote a whole book on forgiveness, which is incredible. And I have it right over here. I can see it. So for you personally, when you set out on this process years ago, and just even recently, what's become possible for you with all the work you've done and all the ways that you share joy and you embody joy? What did that allow you to do, be, feel that you weren't before?
Accepting myself for sure, big time. And also enjoying each moment. You know, part of the gift of maturity, and I'm 71 now, and part of the gift of maturing is experience and a point of view that you can't. It's impossible to have as a young woman. It's impossible. I'm not saying there aren't wise young women, but there's no way somebody can have 71 years of version of seeing life when they're 20. There's just no way, you know. So one of the gifts I've had is that. And somebody was asking me the other day, because I've lived in several houses even being in Nashville for 45 years. And she said, what's your favorite house? Do you have a favorite house? And I said, I so-and-so was a favorite house when I was there. And then the 9 years, this other was my favorite house when I was with Hayden, and he was in Boy Scouts, and that was great house then. And then my other house was great. So I don't have a favorite. I enjoyed each chapter of the life as I was enjoying it. And then I let it go. So the holding on as part of the forgiveness piece is trying to make life, if now is now, then you can go back and see it and honor it and enjoy it, and let it be in the past. But so many times people want to hold on to the past and take it with them. And that's even the good parts. It's like at some point that then you can't enjoy the moment. You can't be now. So one of the things that I've learned in these years is enjoying the moment, even as my years are shorter toward the end of my life. They're more precious, of course, but they give me I'm more aware of every moment being
The now.
Absolutely the now. Yeah.
I love that you said that. That feels like part of what holds us back is holding on to the past, even if it was a good part of our past, that takes us out of the now, which takes us away from joy. And I've been going through that personally with I feel like I'm in a transition of being a mom to younger kids to now really fully, have been for a while, but now my youngest are even getting closer to the teenage years. So I really feel like I've rounded the corner. And there's times where I kind of go, oh, like, I just got the shivers. Like, that part of my motherhood is over. And sometimes, like, there's a moment of a little bit of grief or a little bit of just acceptance. But I can imagine if I stayed there all the time, I would be very sad. And wanting something else. And so now it's the practice of, how can I see the beauty right now in this new stage? And becoming a mother of teenagers. I have a client going through this. And you hear people talk about, oh, teenagers this, and they don't talk to you, and they slam the doors, and there's all kinds of memes and jokes about it, which are funny. but how can we really have to still find the beauty in that teenage stage. Like, what are all the gifts here right now?
That's where ceremony comes in. And our culture doesn't embrace ceremony and ritual. I think it's important because it marks the passings from chapter to chapter. And so a ceremony of the letting go of childhood to teenage, the 13, of course, in Judaism, they have it. But I also had one for my son. We're not Jewish, but I created one for my son. And I found a men's group. They took him out on a camping trip from our church, and they had never done that with any child before, but I asked. I'm a
Yeah.
single mom. His dad died when he was 3, so I kind of had to create circumstances to represent manhood and whatever. So I created that, and had another man that I admired so much. He and his son, adult son, brought Hayden to dinner as a passing. Anyway, I just think ceremony is important. It's important for the letting go, and it's important for the going to. Like for
Absolutely.
teenagers, letting go of the childhood, but also embracing the years to come.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that to me is one of the most powerful things we can do is ritualize, and I too have a special thing for each child when they turn 13. We give them a trip just with us, single, just personally with us, just mom and dad and that one child. But recently I've thought, I need a ritual though for me as the mom, just for me. And I'm having my client also create her own ritual as well. Because it's not just, we often have a ritual around becoming a mother, right? With the shower or some kind of baby blessing or things like that. But then we kind of typically need to start to learn to create our own rituals, like you said, and mark that time. And that is so meaningful, which to me, if it's meaningful, intentional, it's joyful.
That's a beautiful thing that you're doing there. I mean, really awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. So I think we forget too, as women, we can create our own rituals. We don't need somebody to tell us what to do. We can create that. So that's a whole nother conversation we could go into. So next thing, what do you have coming up that you want to share, that we can share here, that you have coming up that you're going to be sharing with your clients? Anything you want to share?
Yes, I once a year I do. I'm a rebirthing breath worker, and our first experience of intimacy was when we were inside our mother, like that long ago. And so, how we experience intimacy then, we carry through in our relationships as we become adults. So, there's a water breathwork weekend where we actually take a snorkel and we actually are in water in a pool, private pool, and learn about different processes, different times of our life that we may have created certain subconscious programs that we don't know are there, but when we see them, we can let them go. So this whole weekend is called Allowing Intimacy, and it's a water breathwork weekend, and it's August 6th, 7th, and 8th here in Nashville. And I limited to 10. I have 3 spots left, and if somebody's interested, I do ask that they have a session ahead of time with you or with me, but it's not something you can just jump into. You do need to have breath work. You need to at least have one session beforehand, just to kind of get going. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. And I'm also planning on having a forgiveness day, one-day workshop in November. Because a lot of times people, Thanksgiving and Christmas is a great family time for many people, but it's a terrible family time for a lot of people. They didn't have the Norman Rockwell family life, So I've done this before in the past, and it's always been well received. So I'm doing a one-day forgiveness workshop, and that'll be in person. So anyway.
I was going to say, is that going to be in person?
Yeah.
What a beautiful gift. Both offerings, actually. But I love that so many people have a hard time going home for the holidays. And what a beautiful offering to have right before that happens, to kind of arm them with healing and tools and forgiveness and all those things. And the water breathwork weekend, I can say, is so powerful. I think I've done it twice now with you.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to just be there this time to support. And I'm just so grateful for you. And one thing I would like you to just end us with is if there is a prayer or a wish or something you could share with those listening, what would that be?
Yes, this would be it right here. So you just close your eyes for just a moment, please. Be present and take a breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still. Be.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mwah.
Have a
I'll
nice
see you soon.